He was cut 4 times. Undrafted. Too short at 6 feet tall. Too slow. He should have failed. Instead, James Harrison became the only undrafted player in NFL history to win Defensive Player of the Year, made the longest play in Super Bowl history, and transformed into one of the most feared defenders the league has ever seen. This is the story of a man who nearly quit football at 26 to become a veterinarian, but instead rewrote every rule about what is possible when you refuse to accept limitations. James Henry Harrison Jr. was born May 4th, 1978 in Akron, Ohio. He was the youngest of 14 children. His father, James Sr., was a chemical truck driver who gave him advice that would define his entire career. When you go to practice, you ain't got no friends. You can be friends with them after practice is over, but while you're out there, I want you to treat them like they're your worst enemy. This wasn't just advice. It became Harrison's DNA. At Coventry High School in Ohio, Harrison faced racial taunts as one of the first African American students. He was suspended multiple times, including once for running along the opposing sideline and extending both middle fingers after scoring a touchdown. Scholarship offers from Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Nebraska were rescinded after Harrison shot a teammate with a BB gun in the locker room, was arrested, and accumulated disciplinary issues that outweighed his obvious talent. Harrison arrived at Kent State as a walk-on in 1998, academically unqualified, and forced to sit out his freshman year. He spent that season skipping classes and playing Final Fantasy VII until his mother Mildred drove 20 miles to campus, checked his grades, and told him to pack. Harrison promised to change, and he actually did. He went from academic probation to the dean's list with a 3.0 grade point average. His senior season in 2001 produced the most important game of his life against Miami University and future Steelers teammate Ben Roethlisberger. Kent State entered 5-5, seeking their first winning season since 1987. Miami led 20-7 at halftime. Then Harrison took over. He recorded 12 tackles and 5 sacks, still a Kent State single-game record, including sacking Roethlisberger on both 3rd and 4th down on the final 2 plays to preserve a 24-20 victory. That performance earned him first-team All-MAC honors, with 15 sacks leading the conference, 20 tackles for loss, and 98 total tackles. Despite this dominance, Harrison went undrafted in 2002. At 6'2" and 240 pounds, he was a tweener. Too short for linebacker, too light for defensive line. Bill Cowher's memoir revealed the dismissive attitude. He described Harrison as 6'2" and 245 pounds, too small to play linebacker in the NFL, and not quick enough. We signed him anyway, unsure of what we'd get. The Steelers only signed Harrison because his agent insisted they take him as a package deal to get an undrafted cornerback they actually wanted. The NFL looked at James Harrison and saw nothing special. They were catastrophically wrong. The period from 2002 to 2004 nearly broke him. The Steelers cut him 3 times. Released before the 2002 season, he made the practice squad, got activated briefly for special teams duty, then was cut again. He was cut again in 2003. Teammate James Ferrier described early Harrison as a knucklehead who did not know the plays, he would throw his hands up and tell the coaches to get him out of there. We thought the guy was crazy. The Baltimore Ravens gave him hope, then crushed it. On January 15th, 2004, Baltimore signed Harrison and sent him to NFL Europe's Rhein Fire, where he played 5 games, started them all, and recorded 27 tackles. It wasn't enough. The Ravens cut him on June 17th, 2004, his 4th release in 2 years. That summer was Harrison's darkest hour. At 26 years old, with 4 cuts behind him and no prospects ahead, he prepared for a normal life. I'm just sitting there waiting, and I'm like, you know what? If I don't get picked up, then this was just not meant. I was going to move on, get a regular job like everyone else, work my 40 to 50 hours a week, and call it a day. He had 3 backup plans: become a veterinarian, become a truck driver like his father, or drive buses. The NFL had rejected him 4 times. Why would a 5th be different? Divine intervention arrived July 26, 2004. Steelers linebacker Clark Haggans broke 2 fingers in a weightlifting accident on the eve of training camp. Pittsburgh needed a body for practice drills. They called Harrison for the 4th time, expecting nothing, but this time was different. Harrison arrived transformed. He brought 1,000 flashcards with the playbook, studied them on his floor mattress before bed each night, and refused to have a TV installed in his room to eliminate all distractions. I wanted to feel like if I did get cut, I gave it everything I could. There was nothing else I could do. Harrison made the final roster in 2004, playing primarily special teams. But from 2004 to 2006, he remained mostly a backup. Alive in the NFL, but not truly living. That would require 3 more years of waiting. In March 2007, the Steelers cut Pro Bowl linebacker Joey Porter for salary cap reasons. New head coach Mike Tomlin faced immediate criticism when he named 29-year-old James Harrison, a special teams player with minimal starting experience, as Porter's replacement. Pittsburgh had The Steelers used their first 2 picks on drafted linebackers Lawrence Timmons and Lamar Woodley. Surely Harrison was a placeholder. Tomlin saw something others didn't. November 5th, 2007. Mr. Monday Night is born. Against the Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football, Harrison delivered a performance that announced his arrival. 10 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, 1 interception. The most memorable moment was his devastating blindside hit on Ed Reed during a punt return, a collision so violent it became instant legend. Pittsburgh won 38-7. By season's end, Harrison had recorded 8.5 sacks, 7 forced fumbles, 98 tackles, his first Pro Bowl selection, and second team All-Pro honors. His teammates voted him Steelers MVP. The transformation was complete, but his masterpiece was still to come. The 2008 season was historically dominant. Harrison recorded 16 sacks, breaking the Steelers' single-season record held since 1984, 101 tackles, and 7 forced fumbles, leading the NFL. The 2008 Steelers defense was suffocating, allowing only 13.9 points per game, first in the NFL without surrendering. Not a single 100-yard rusher or a 300-yard passer all season. On January 5th, 2009, Harrison was named NFL Defensive Player of the Year. He remains the only undrafted player in history to win this award. But individual awards pale compared to what happened on February 1st, 2009 in Tampa. Super Bowl XLIII between the Pittsburgh Steelers and Arizona Cardinals drew 98.7 million viewers, the most watched Super Bowl in history at that time. Pittsburgh led 10-7 with 18 seconds remaining in the first half. Arizona had the ball first and goal at the Steelers' 1-yard line. They were positioned to take a 14-10 halftime lead. Instead, what happened next became the longest play in Super Bowl history. Defensive coordinator Dick LeBeau called a play showing maximum blitz. Kurt Warner, reading the pressure, knew he had to get rid of the ball immediately. Harrison's assignment was to cover running back Tim Hightower, but LeBeau's genius was having Harrison drop into coverage at the last second instead of blitzing, a trap disguised as aggression. Warner saw Anquan Boldin running a quick slant route and fired. Harrison read the play perfectly, sliding to his right into the passing lane. Warner threw directly into his hands at the goal line. Harrison began down the right sideline, his teammates immediately rallying to block. He broke a tackle near midfield. He patiently hopped over a Steeler who had fallen. With the clock nearing 0 and Harrison quickly losing steam, 3 Cardinals pursued in a desperate foot race. At the 10-yard line, offensive tackle Mike Gandy dove at Harrison's feet, slowing him and almost forcing him out of bounds. This allowed wide receivers Steve Breaston and Larry Fitzgerald to converge. Breaston hit Harrison high, trying to force him out. Fitzgerald grabbed from behind, trying to strip the ball. The collision of Breaston hitting Harrison and Fitzgerald pulling actually propelled Harrison forward into the end zone. His knee landed on Fitzgerald as he crossed the plane. Time expired. 0-0. Touchdown confirmed after booth review. Harrison collapsed in the end zone, staying on his back for several minutes, gasping for oxygen. He was completely, utterly spent. Teammate James Ferrier yelled to him, "That's the greatest run back in NFL history." Harrison later described it. Those last couple of yards were probably tougher than anything I've done in my life, but probably more gratifying than anything I've done in football. I was very tiring, but it was all worth it. The impact was a 14-point swing. Instead of trailing 14-10 or tied 10-10, Pittsburgh led 17-7 at halftime with complete momentum. Though Arizona fought back to briefly lead 23-20 with 2:37 remaining, the Steelers won 27-23 on Santonio Holmes' famous toe-tap touchdown. Dick LeBeau called Harrison's play the greatest single defensive play in Super Bowl history. The 100-yard interception return remains the longest in Super Bowl history and the longest interception return in Steelers franchise history. Following his Super Bowl heroics, Harrison signed a 6-year, $51.75 million extension. From 2009 to 2012, he remained one of the NFL's most dominant and controversial defenders, earning continued Pro Bowl selections and All-Pro honors while accumulating fines that made him the poster child for the NFL's player safety initiative. Harrison's violent playing style made him simultaneously revered and reviled. He once told Men's Journal, "I don't want to see anyone injured, but I'm not opposed to hurting anyone. There's a difference. When you're injured, you can't play. But when you're hurt, you can shake it off and come back. I try to hurt people." His nicknames, Deebo, after the Friday movie character, and Silverback, for freakish gorilla-like strength, captured his intimidating presence. But 2010 became the year of fines. Harrison was fined approximately $120,000 to $150,000 in a single season. $5,000 for flipping Titans quarterback Vince Young. $75,000 for a helmet-to-helmet hit on Browns wide receiver Mohamed Massaquoi, causing a concussion. $20,000 for a late hit on Saints quarterback Drew Brees from behind. Additional fines for hits on Raiders quarterback Jason Campbell and Bills quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick. After the $75,000 Massaquoi fine, Harrison threatened retirement. "I'm going to sit down and have a serious conversation with my coach tomorrow and see if I can actually play by NFL rules and still be effective. If not, I may have to give up playing football." On December 8, 2011, Harrison hit Browns quarterback Colt McCoy helmet to helmet, becoming the first player ever suspended for an illegal hit. The one-game suspension cost him approximately $73,500. Despite the fines and controversy, Harrison's physical dominance was undeniable. From 2007 to 2011, he recorded 54 sacks in 5 seasons, a remarkable run of productivity that placed him among the elite pass rushers in the NFL. What made James Harrison unique wasn't just what he did on Sundays. It was what he did Monday through Saturday. His workout regimen became the stuff of legend. 1,100-pound leg presses, 700-pound squats, 675-pound hip thrusts, 200-pound weighted dips, 405-pound power cleans, earthquake bar exercises with unstable resistance bands, negative emphasis training, 5 to 6 seconds to lower the bar on every single rep. Steelers conditioning coordinator Garrett Guimont declared, No one on the Pittsburgh Steelers team works as hard as James. He is by far the most. He was one of the most powerful players in the entire NFL. Harrison spent an estimated $300,000 per year on body maintenance, employing a team including. He relied on chiropractors, masseuses, personal trainers, dry needling specialists, cuppers, and mobility specialists. This obsessive approach to conditioning allowed Harrison to play elite football into his late 30s. At age 38, in 2015, he recorded 50 tackles and 5 sacks. At age 39, in 2017, he played in Super Bowl XLII with New England. Harrison's later career featured twists that shocked the football world. On March 9, 2013, the Steelers released him for salary cap reasons. He signed with division rival Cincinnati Bengals, and he tweeted the words, "Hootie" and "Hello Cincinnati." The Cincinnati experiment failed miserably. Harrison started 10 of 15 games, but recorded only 30 tackles and 2 sacks, his worst statistical performance since his backup years. Cincinnati released him on March 13, 2014, after just 1 season. Harrison announced his retirement on August 30, 2014. Then, on September 23, just 18 days later, the Steelers called. Injuries had decimated their linebacker core. Harrison signed with the New England Patriots, Pittsburgh's AFC rival. The move shocked Steelers Nation. In his Patriots debut, Harrison recorded 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 5 tackles. He appeared in all 3 Patriots playoff games, starting Super Bowl LII against Philadelphia. The Eagles won 41-33. At age 39, Harrison's career ended in defeat in the biggest game. On April 16, 2018, Harrison announced his retirement via Instagram. "I've missed way too much for way too long, and I'm done. Many thanks to my family, coaches, the fans, and everyone who played a role in my football life." He turned 40 weeks later. Final career statistics: 84.5 regular season sacks, 95.5 total career sacks, including playoffs, 793 total tackles, 34 forced fumbles, 18th all-time in NFL history, 2 Super Bowl championships, 5 consecutive Pro Bowls, 4 All-Pro selections, 2008 Associated Press NFL Defensive Player of the Year, the only undrafted player ever to win. James Harrison's career is a monument to the power of relentless work. Every limitation, too short, too slow, undrafted, cut 4 times, was overcome by simply refusing to accept limits as final. Not just the 100-yard Super Bowl run, not just the 80.5 sacks, and not even only the legendary training regimen. Human transformation. The angry high school kid with a BB gun. The college freshman on academic probation playing video games. The 26-year-old contemplating veterinary school after his 4th cut. Becoming the man gasping for breath in the end zone after the greatest defensive play in Super Bowl history. There will never be another James Harrison, because the modern NFL does not allow his playing style anymore. But more fundamentally, there will never be another James Harrison, because the combination of physical limitations overcome, near failures survived, and superhuman dedication sustained across a 15-year career is virtually unreplicable. The 6-foot linebacker who was too short. The undrafted free agent who won Defensive Player of the Year. The special teams player cut 4 times who became the franchise's all-time sack leader. The 39-year-old still leg pressing 1,100 pounds. The man who ran 100 yards when everyone else would have been tackled at the 50. James Harrison didn't just play football. He redefined what's possible when limitations meet limitless determination.